With an above-average 2017 Atlantic hurricane season predicted, we urge you to make every effort to prepare for the period which runs until November. It's expected that there will be 11 to 17 named storms, with 5 to 9 of those developing into hurricanes. 2 to 4 of those weather systems are predicted to be Category 3 or stronger. Those predictions should spur you into action, especially in light of the flooding some of our communities experienced in recent weeks. It's Jamaica Magazine, your #1 program for government information you can use to enhance your life. We start now with a word of advice, followed by the news.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your GIS News for Monday, June 19. As projected, the tourism industry has already welcomed over 1 million stopover visitors so far this year. This represents the largest number of arrivals over a 6-month period. It's a feat which tourism officials, including Minister Edmund Bartlett, has described as phenomenal. The minister, who was at Sangster International Airport to greet the 1,000,000th visitor recently, says that for the same period, the tourism sector has also earned in excess of $1.2 billion. It continues a positive growth trend for the sector, which produced $2.5 billion and foreign direct investment of over $500 million last year. Finance Minister Audley Shaw says government is developing regulations to govern interactive and online gaming. He says this is to guide a growing sector that offers tremendous potential for revenue earnings.
Due to the expanded use of technology and the need to facilitate the growth of the industry, we have decided to fast-track legislation for interactive online gaming ahead of the merger of the commissions.
Minister Shaw says the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission is in the process of drafting legislation to establish a licensing regime and a regulatory supervision for operators of interactive gaming.
This will ensure that the government can properly regulate this industry and implement measures to prevent money laundering, very key, and the financing of criminal and illicit activities.
The Finance Minister was delivering the keynote address at the opening of a 2-day Caribbean Gaming Show and Summit held in Montego Bay recently. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says a public-private partnership proposal is being examined to provide housing for healthcare professionals. Dr. Tufton says such an arrangement will require the injection of funds from an investor to build the accommodations.
And we hold in a unique instrument the facility for an extended period until the cost of the investor is recovered, and then take back the facility over time. But that facility would be built within a reasonable time and be allowed to given to the healthcare professionals who need access.
The health minister says he will begin examination of the proposal in the coming weeks. Dr. Tufton was speaking with GIS News on Friday ahead of a tour at the Princess Margaret Hospital in Morant Bay, St. Thomas. He promised to examine the hospital's need for more newborn incubators as well as the reasons for the delay in completing the expansion of the accident and emergency building. The flash flood watch in effect for western parishes has been lifted. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica discontinued the warning for Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland at 5 a.m. this morning. This follows significant reduction in rainfall across the island. The Met Office is, however, still monitoring weather conditions with projections for light to moderate showers and isolated thunderstorms to continue across sections of mainly western parishes. Over the weekend, sections of the island were lashed by heavy rains which caused flooding, damage to roadways and downed trees. Grand Gala returns to the National Stadium this Independence Day, August 6. It's among the many activities planned for Jamaica's 55 celebrations. At the recent unveiling of the 2017 calendar of events, Culture Minister Olivia Grange said they were an unapologetic celebration of Jamaica's many achievements.
We have followed a path of nation building, forging ahead with several infrastructure developments. Today, we are proud to say Jamaica is a modern country which has established its place among the League of Nations.
An Independence Grand Market and fireworks on the waterfront on Monday, August 7 are among a week of activities to celebrate Jamaica 55. Others include the Independence Festival Village, which opens at the National Arena on Saturday, July 29. Festival staples such as the Gospel Song and Miss Jamaica Festival Queen competitions are back, so too the World Reggae Dance Championships and the new edition, Kingston Reggae Night. There will also be street dances, concerts, church services, and flag-raising ceremonies in towns and communities across the country. And finally, the Jamaica Information Service, JIS, has donated a series of its culturally relevant publications to the Jamaica Intensive Reading Clinic, JIRC. The books are expected to be used in the JIRC's reading camps, which will be held across the island this summer. The packages were handed over by JIS's Chief Executive Officer, Donna Marie Rowe, on Friday, June 16.
It covers our heritage, and we also have activity books and so on. We are so happy to be partnering with you to support the reading clinic. It's a very inspiring venture, and it will go a very far way with our young people.
JIRC's Executive Director, Santana Morris, expressed gratitude for the donation, saying the nature of the material was in line with the organization's thrust to promote reading through the use of texts and stories highlighting Jamaican culture and heritage. The JIRC summer reading camps will cater to 1,500 children aged 6 to 17 who are struggling with mastery of literacy. The camps will be held at 18 locations across the 14 parishes from July 24 to 28. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
The island's chief public servant was fully occupied this past week. Get the details next.
Arresting crime was the main agenda item for Prime Minister Andrew Holness this past week. At a multilateral crime summit on Thursday, Mr. Holness reiterated government's resolve to confront the savagery of gangs who breed fear and destabilize the operations of the country.
The state cannot sit by and allow this to continue, but we recognize the errors of the past. The state has to be focused and targeted and strategic and driven by intelligence on the perpetrators.
And even as he urged the security forces to confront crime, the Prime Minister said the fight should be done with respect for human rights and in line with the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM.
We have to find the right way to strike the balance to ensure that our policemen feel motivated, that they are willing to go out there without worry that after they are trying to do the right thing, they end up on the wrong side. We have to find the right balance to ensure that criminals don't feel that they can use the existing laws as a way to protect them.
The day before, Prime Minister Holness brought his crime-fighting plans to the business community. Stating that crime was a major obstacle in the way of economic growth, Mr. Holness said government would be acting decisively to combat the issue.
We know that crime is a significant drag on the economy, a significant drag on people who are working hard and making their investment. But do not be deterred. The government will stand with you and provide you with the necessary security.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking at Wednesday's groundbreaking for the Hampshire housing development in New Kingston. The 66-unit Guardian Group project is slated for completion in November 2018. By Wednesday afternoon, Prime Minister Holness was at Up Park Camp officially opening the Directorate of Training and Doctrine DTD. A partnership between the Jamaica Defence Force and the Canadian government, the DTD will streamline local, regional and international response to security threats.
With this organization, the JDF will, for the first time, be able to develop and encode its own doctrine based on best practices of its partners as well as on its own lessons learned, which will then be translated to training serials for applications in the field. This center aligns with the government's vision that world-class standards need to be maintained right here in Jamaica, and it would also ensure that key defense bilateral partnerships are cultivated and enhanced.
And in Parliament Tuesday, the Prime Minister underscored the security benefits of having a national identification system that can uniquely and reliably verify citizens.
Whilst this bill is not a crime-fighting measure per se, what this bill will do is to reduce the informality of the society, which, Mr. Speaker, it is within the informal space that much of our crimes are committed. We live in a technological world where fakes abound, not least of which is the ability of criminals who are tech-savvy to create fake identities and to use those fake identities to commit crimes, and in some cases, create duplications in the private and public sector.
Prime Minister Holness was opening the June 13 debate on the National Identification and Registration Bill, which was tabled in the Lower House on June 6. He said the implementation would transform Jamaica into a digital economy with improved international standing and credibility, as well as support the ease of doing business. Economic growth and job creation was also a preoccupation for Prime Minister Andrew Holness. On Thursday, he challenged the leadership of the Northern Caribbean University, NCU, to increase its research and training capabilities to include health and agriculture.
If we manage to infuse technology and good management into our agricultural practices, we could increase our agricultural output tenfold. And where you are in the center of the island, I think you are well placed to lead that initiative.
The Prime Minister was speaking Thursday at the university's fundraising banquet, which served as the inauguration of its 24th president and an awards function. Back at Jamaica House, the Prime Minister held talks with several visitors this past week. On Tuesday, he met with Red Stripe's managing director, who reiterated his company's commitment to Jamaica's growth and prosperity. A similar sentiment was shared by a delegation from Campari, J-Ray and Nephew. On Friday, Mr. Holness received updates on an urban development corporation project.
It's absolutely important that we continue to be good fathers, not just to our own children, but to all that come within our reach.
Prime Minister Holness is charged to persons at a Father's Day luncheon held at Jamaica House Friday. The function was held for fathers of the Office of the Prime Minister and the Office of the Cabinet.
Happy Father's Day.
And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for the latest news coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians. Slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
June is Road Safety Month, and we encourage all road users to be careful on our nation's thoroughfares. Government has again partnered with the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association to bring awareness to this important issue. Get the details next.
The well-being of Jamaicans and visitors is of paramount importance to us as a government and us as a people. Therefore, our aim is to make it safe and enjoyable as you travel.
Road safety must become a daily part of our lives. We must be responsible for our safety on the roads. Let's walk, ride, and drive with care, as the life we save may be our own.
The JJRA feels confident that our program this year will impact drivers, motorcyclists, pedestrians, and students, making them more aware of the importance of proper road safety practices.
We have to start at a tender age to regroup and educate the nation. We also undertake projects such as repainting of pedestrian crossing, facilitating blood drives, and conducting driving seminars. This year we'll be adding to our project a riding seminar, as motorcyclists need to be more aware of the safe practices.
Government takes seriously our responsibility to create safer roads for all our people, particularly our children and other vulnerable road users. That is why we have vigorously pursued the passage of the Amended Road Traffic Act, which covers areas such as the establishment of the Island Traffic Authority and its functions, the road code, classification of vehicles, revocation of certificate of fitness, application grant and refusal of learner's permit or driver's license, and of course, offenses relating to the licensing of a driver. All of which we believe are critical areas that must be targeted to reduce road fatalities.
There is a black box in every vehicle. When you hear a plane crash, you hear we're looking for the black box. I only learned through this that every car that has an airbag has a black box. The black box can tell us what you were doing before and what you were doing at the point of impact. And I put in place an issue for the holiday program workers with the Denby High School, that we're going to begin to train the children at the school on the fifth level, form level, in how to analyze a black box in a car.
Research conducted revealed that in 2014, it cost $8 billion Jamaican dollars to treat road crash victims at the various hospitals across the island, and indirectly affected productivity to the tune of $3 billion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we are truly to become a prosperous nation, every individual must play his or her part in curtailing the number of crashes and the deaths and injuries that result from them. All of us must continue to do everything in our power to ensure that we keep our figures under 300. And know that is the benchmark. But we need to see if we can even lower that benchmark this year to somewhere between 250 to 275. So I therefore urge motorists to desist from speeding, wear seat belts, practice defensive driving, avoid using cell phones while driving. So again, I encourage pedestrians to use the road with caution. Use pedestrian crossings or safe places, walk facing the oncoming traffic, and again, always wear bright colors and bright and light color clothing when in the dark.
Take road safety practices seriously and make a dent in the high fatality rate associated with motor vehicle crashes which plague our nation.
June is also the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. Watch as the government agencies focused on piloting us through another hurricane season tell us of their state of readiness.
If forecasters are right, expect some amount of this weather during the hurricane season. State agencies with responsibility for disaster management have already primed all departments to be ready if a tropical system decides to come our way.
The National Disaster Organization, I need to assure you all, is ready for all adversities.
Jamaicans must prepare for above normal activity for the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season, which runs until November 30. The National Hurricane Center, based in the United States of America, is predicting 11 to 17 named storms. 5 to 9 of them could develop into hurricanes, and 2 to 4 of those are expected to be Category 3 or stronger. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica is in accordance with the prediction.
Forecast for this year compares favorably with what we experienced last year and suggests that this 2017 season will be either a normal or a bit above normal one in terms of its tropical cyclone activity.
The forecast does not indicate how many of these systems will or could be a threat to Jamaica. Even more reason to be prepared.
And our recent memory will tell us that just one surface trough is able to inflict damage of over $2 billion and destroy livelihoods. We must ensure that we prepare ourselves for the worst.
The prediction is out and state agencies are heeding the warning. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is leading the charge, working with first responders and parish authorities.
In terms of our readiness and preparedness, we have a cadre of 300 social workers and record officers across all 14 parishes who are now on alert. The team has gone through sensitization sessions in relation to post-disaster registration and assessment of victims, how to conduct assessments, how to complete the assessment forms and emergency relief application forms, and shelter inspection forms. 200 of our social workers are trained in first aid and cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, across all 14 parishes. All our parish managers, administrators, and social workers are assigned a phone in the closed user group, thus allowing for direct contact and communication island-wide. In respect of our emergency supplies, the ministry has increased the stock at our warehouse. We're currently procuring additional supplies, food and comfort items for the hurricane season. We have MOUs in place with suppliers in all parishes for credit of emergency supplies to be activated as the need arises. We have transportation identified, and the fleet of vehicles are serviced and ready for deployment. Our welfare and shelter plan is in activation mode, and our shelter inspection, we have completed 700 of the 900 shelters island-wide. Those have been inspected to ensure that the distribution of supplies can be accommodated therein.
The Ministry of Health, another critical state organ, has also completed training and is on standby if a disaster occurs.
The ministry has over the last 6 months made some strides in ensuring that our health facilities are resilient to disasters and will be able to continue to function during and after disasters at optimum capacity.
Long before June 1, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, OPM, conducted critical consultations with various stakeholders.
We've had public education and training at several communities across the island, schools and other institutions, places of business, and even places of worship. Simulation exercises have been conducted, specialized training for first responders, mitigation studies concluded and others commenced, improvement of response and contingency plans, and improvement of internal operation processes at the OPM.
The Meteorological Service of Jamaica is improving its method of communicating with the public. This includes the use of social media and text messages for the dissemination of weather alert messages.
You will also eventually be getting your warning messages in graphical imagery, where you can also see color coding as to whether it is an immediate warning or a long-term warning. So you will be seeing that as we roll out this hurricane season.
The administration is determined to create and maintain a momentum of urgency in the public's mind about hurricane preparedness.
We, as a government, working with the various entities, will continue to ensure that the country is prepared for any possible eventuality that may arise during the season.
Lives first, property next.
Climate change is happening. It's not a political issue. It's not an issue that you can wish away. It is a nature issue. It is happening, and I'm totally convinced of this. And for small island developing states, we have to take it very seriously. The only way that we can address this issue is through building resilience. And in building resilience, it means you have to build your house on rock and not sand. That's the biblical definition of resilience. So it means that Jamaicans have to make wise choices in what they build, how they build, and where they build.
And that's how we close off today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Be sure to join us round about the same time tomorrow for another information-packed show. All our programs are available online. There's our trusted website, jis.gov.jm, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.